You have entered a place where not everyone dares to listen to the end. This is a new channel, and every story here carries a real darkness. If you dare to join, follow now. Now, keep absolutely quiet, because the nightmare is about to begin. Two policemen disappear in an abandoned house, and the truth in the basement. Part 1. The place I worked part-time when I was in high school was quite famous. Almost every kid in my school worked there. A small pizza shop. Every paycheck made me feel rich. And so I always agreed to go to work whenever they needed people. It was the day after Christmas. I thought the restaurant would be empty, because everyone is still at home with their families. But I was wrong. By dinner time, all the seats were filled. Orders are piling up. At around 8 o'clock, the manager told me to start taking delivery orders. First order done quickly. I went back to get another order. 1 pizza only. The address is about 20 minutes away. It's cold. Snow falls gently under the streetlights. The streets are deserted. An eerie silence, in stark contrast to the bustle inside the pizza shop. I drove slowly, trying to enjoy the silence. Finally, I arrived. A house located alone on the side of the road. Have to go on gravel road to get there. All around are trees covered with snow. The front yard is decorated brightly for Christmas, but strangely, it was dark inside the house. Not a single light is on. As I got closer, I noticed footprints on the snow, but they are not facing the main door. They turned to the side of the house. One detail made me shiver a little. I still do my job, though. I knocked on the door. Wait. 30 seconds. Not a sound. I type again. Still silent. There was only the sound of the gentle wind and falling snow all around. The third time I knocked harder, frustrated by the cold. But still no one answered. Finally, I gave up. I went back to the car, tried to start the machine. But the car won't start. I try again. Engine dead. Repeat. Every time I fail, I panic more and more. And then, I looked up. There is a person standing in front of the house. They are fully dressed. Thick coat, snow pants, boots, scarf. I lowered the window, trying to calm down. Hey, did you order a pizza? I've been knocking on the door for 5 minutes. The person did not respond, just slowly walked towards me. Something is wrong. The way he moved. Not fast, not slow, as if he knew full well that I couldn't leave. A panic rose. I pulled out my phone and called 911. When the police officer picked up and asked about the emergency, the man suddenly spoke in a low voice through the glass crack. Do you need help? I got chills. How did he know I was calling the police? That voice confirmed that this was completely abnormal. I will report the address as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the man began to get restless. He moved faster, his eyes darting around, as if trying to find a way into the car. He reached into his pocket and rummaged around for a while. Not finding something made him panic. Then suddenly he banged his hand repeatedly on the glass door. The rumbling sound echoed in the quiet night. I tremble. If the glass breaks, I will have nothing to cover myself with. Then, he left, running around the side of the house. I know. He will come back, this time with something more dangerous. 2 minutes passed. I sat there, not knowing whether to open the door and run or continue waiting for the police, hands shaking on the steering wheel. And then, in the rearview mirror, I see flashing red and blue lights. The police are here, at the same time. The man reappeared from the side of the house. In his hand, something was glimmering under the patrol lights. Part 2. Flashing red and green lights illuminated the empty street. I breathed a sigh of relief, feeling like I had just escaped from a nightmare. But the real nightmare had only just begun. The other man appeared from the side of the house. In his hand was a long metal object shining under the light. He stood there motionless, looking toward the approaching police car. 2 policemen stepped down, their hands on their gun belts. I hurriedly opened the car door and shouted, "It was him! He tried to break my car door!" But the strange thing was, when the police shined their flashlights on him, the front yard was completely empty. No one. I was speechless. I clearly just saw him, right there, just a few feet away. The police were suspicious. They checked around the house, then asked me to stay in the car. I looked through the windshield and saw them walking along the porch, flashlights flashing everywhere. The white snow reflects the light, creating distorted shadows. The screams in the house still echo in my head. I trembled, gripping the steering wheel tightly, praying that the two policemen would come out safely. But the front door was still wide open, and inside was pitch-black darkness. Then, from the walkie-talkie that fell on the steps, a gasping voice rang out, "Basement! There's something in the basement! Don't go down! Don't go down!" The buzzing sound continued and then stopped. I saw the second policeman rush in, flashlight flashing in the darkness. In a flash, his figure disappeared behind the door. Just me, alone, with the car shaking gently to the beat of my pounding heart. Somehow, I opened the car door. Each step printed on the snow led me to the porch. The air inside smelled of mold and rust. Every breath is mixed with decades of accumulated dust. In the living room, the Christmas lights hanging outside the window were still flashing, shining a patchy light on the patchy, tattered walls. I followed the static of the walkie-talkie. It came from the back hallway, where there was an old wooden door. The door leads down to the basement. I swallowed, my hands shaking as I turned the knob. The door opened, creaking like old bones cracking. A cold wind blew up, carrying with it a horrible stench. I shined my phone light down. The wooden stairs were worn, covered with dust and dark brown stains. At the bottom of the stairs was pitch darkness. I heard something, the sound of metal dragging on concrete floor. Then there was a wheezing sound, as if someone was standing right at the foot of the stair. Wait for me to come down. I was about to turn away. But the ground radio came on. The first policeman's voice, distorted, repeated over and over, "Don't go down, don't go down, don't go down." At the same time, the Christmas lights in the window went out. The house was plunged into complete darkness, and from the basement came a soft whisper. Not a voice, but it is multi-voiced, overlapping, disordered, like a ghostly choir. I was shaking, but my feet still gradually stepped down. One step, then another. The whispers grew clearer and clearer, mixed with crying, giggling, and even cries for help. Down to the last step. I almost held my breath. The flashlight beam swept through the low, cramped cellar. The wall is full of old photos, portraits, of dozens of people. Everyone's face was blurred, their eyes were blackened, their mouths were painted bright red. And right in the middle of the basement are two policemen. They sat on the floor, eyes wide open, motionless, mouth whispering, repeating the same sentence, "He's here. He never left." I stepped back in horror, but behind me, the basement door slammed shut. The sound of the lock clicking. I'm stuck, in the dark, with him. If you want to know what's really hiding in the basement and why do those pictures look exactly like people who have been missing for years, let's watch the final part, where the terrible truth will be revealed. Then a policeman turned to my car and asked, "Are you sure? Are you sure you saw anyone here?" I nodded continuously, my voice lost. I swear he was there. He had something in his hand. The police looked at each other, then whispered something that I couldn't hear clearly. Then someone decided to go inside the house to check. He knocked on the door. No response. He tried turning the latch. The door opened easily. A cold wind blew out, carrying with it a musty smell. Very unpleasant. I saw the policeman enter, his flashlight sweeping across the dark living room. The other person stood on the porch, keeping in touch via walkie-talkie. A few minutes passed. Then, a noise came from inside the house, the sound of tables and chairs colliding loudly. The policeman outside shouted, "Are you okay? Answer me now!" The radio is buzzing. The policeman's voice inside trembled. I think there's someone here. I saw a shadow. In the basement. Just then, all the Christmas lights outside the house started flashing. It's as if someone just plugged all the wires back in. Red, blue, and yellow lights flashed randomly, illuminating the entire snow-covered wall. I heard hurried footsteps, then a scream from inside the house. The police on the porch immediately drew their guns and rushed in. I could only sit in the car, helpless, my heart about to jump out of my chest. In the flickering light, I saw a figure pass by an upstairs window. That dark figure had messy hair and sunken eyes. It's him, the guy who was standing in front of my car a few minutes ago. But this time, he didn't look at me. He looked straight down the snowy road, as if knowing full well that I would have to return to this place. Part 3. The cellar was cold and cramped. The whispers around me were constant, echoing as if from the four walls. The two policemen sat motionless, their eyes wide open, their pupils bloodshot as if someone had eroded them. I trembled, the flashlight flickering, illuminating the pictures on the wall. My heart sank. Among them, there is a newest one. The face is me. A crooked smile, blackened eyes, and below it was a shaky line of writing. Next, I was speechless. Who posted that photo? I just got here. How could it have existed before? The whispering stopped. The whole cellar was plunged into absolute silence. Then, a footstep sounded from the deepest dark corner. I shined the flashlight. The light touched a figure, a tall, unusually thin figure wearing a long coat that covered the ground. His face was hidden under the hood, but I saw the eyes flash, reflecting the flashlight, like the eyes of a predator in the night. He did not speak. Just raise your hand. And the pictures on the wall shook and fell to the floor with a rustle. The sound echoed like choked laughter. The two policemen turned their heads toward me at the same time. Their mouths spoke with one voice, non-human voice. You have entered my house. You will never come out again. I panicked, rushed to the basement door, and banged on it with all my might. The door didn't budge. Only thick darkness remained behind, the sound of his footsteps approaching, and a cold hand was placed on my shoulder. I screamed, but my scream was drowned out in the cellar as if swallowed. Then, it all went dark. When the house was investigated the next morning, they didn't find the police, nor did they find me. Only the police car was parked outside, lights still flashing, and in the basement hang a new picture. A face of panic, eyes wide open. It's me. Next to it, in red ink, someone wrote a short line, another Christmas Eve, another one stayed. If you are listening to this story tonight, try looking around your room. Who knows, on some wall, there is also your face. Wait your turn. If you've heard this far, congratulations, you're still alive. Survive. But remember, in this story, they never found the victim's body. So, if one day you see your own face appearing in an old photo, do you dare to look further? Leave me a comment and let me know. And don't forget to follow the channel so you don't miss the next stories. Because next time, you might be the character. Chapter 2, Echoes from the Basement. I stood in the basement. The flashlight flickered in every dark corner. The space here is dense, damp, and cold like a bottomless pit. The four walls were covered with mold stains, but strangely, there were sections of wall that were cleaned and strangely smooth. I moved the light closer and my heart felt like it was being squeezed. On that wall hung a lot of old photos. They were held together with rusty nails, stacked on top of each other, many of them blurred, but all were portraits, the faces of different people. They stared straight into the camera, eyes lifeless, as if caught in a final moment of fear. I sniffed. A musty smell came up. It's not just a musty smell, but it was the smell of old rotting flesh, the smell of something that had once lived. I stopped in front of a photo. They were two familiar faces, the same two policemen who had gone missing last Christmas. Their eyes were dull and empty, as if their souls had been taken away. Right below that photo, There is an empty frame. No photo. Just a faded white background. And below, someone had scribbled in black charcoal, "Your turn is coming soon." I shuddered and took a step back. Just then, I heard something. Clack, clack. From the dark corner of the cellar, the sound of metal clashing came. And then, a dragging sound, as if someone was dragging something heavy across the cold tile floor. I tried to swallow, taking a deep breath, but a soft whisper came, creeping through the darkness, pouring straight into my ear. "I know you. I know your name." I froze. No one here knows my name. I never told anyone, nor did I leave a trace. But that voice called my name exactly, syllable by syllable, clearly, slowly, and it rang right behind me. I turned around. The flashlight was flashing. There was no one, just the cold wall and hundreds of photos still staring down at me, as if smirking, as if waiting to see how much I would panic. A cold wind blew across the back of my neck, and I know I'm not alone in this basement. I took a deep breath. The flashlight beam shook as it focused on the corner of the tunnel. The place where the dragging sound came from was an old, rusty iron chest, the lid locked with a nearly rotten chain. I moved closer, each step echoing on the tiled floor, as if someone was following me from behind. I bent down and lightly touched the lock. It was cold and damp, like a hand had just touched me. I tried shaking it gently. Clack, clack. The lock wobbled, then sprang open. I slowly opened the chest lid. A cold breath of air blew out, carrying an indescribable fishy smell. Inside, no gold, no furniture, but it was a pile of cassette tapes, stacked haphazardly, many of them covered in dried blood. I picked up a roll of tape. There is an old sticker with faded text, but I can read it. Victim number 12. My heart was pounding. I rummaged in the corner of the trunk and found an old, cracked, but still battered portable cassette player. Unable to resist, I put the tape on. The tape was running with a crackling sound. Then a man's voice rang out, trembling, pleading, "Please, forgive me. I don't know anything. Don't come any closer." The eerie scream echoed, then was abruptly cut off by a hoarse, distorted, inhuman laugh. "You will just be the next tape." I panicked and threw the tape on the ground. But just then, I heard another buzz. Not from machine, but from in the dark at the end of the tunnel. That sound was exactly like a cassette tape playing. I turned the flashlight in that direction. The whole cellar seemed to be long and deep. A row of wooden shelves appeared, filled with cassette tapes, hundreds of reels, numbered in order. And on the top shelf, there was a brand new tape, neatly placed. White sticker with wet ink writing. Victim number 101. I felt my chest tighten. Feet were frozen to the floor, because right below that line, there's a name. Exactly my name. I instinctively stepped back, my heart pounding like it was about to explode in my chest. The flashlight's beam shook as it swept through the basement, and I saw it. At the end of the shelf, in the deepest dark corner, there was a figure standing still. Tall, thin, motionless, not breathing. His face was covered by a long layer of cassette tape, wrapped tightly like a spider web, clinging to his flesh. Every time it moved, I could hear a distinct buzzing sound, like a tape being turned. I was speechless. Its eyes, or rather, dark void where eyes should be, looking straight at me. And at that moment, a voice rang out in my head, not from its mouth, but from the tape in my pocket. Whisper, groan, slow. "You will be the next tape." I wanted to scream, wanted to run away, but my body was stiff. Then suddenly, all the flashlights went out. In the pitch blackness, the only thing I could hear was the sound of the cassette tape slowing down, hissing, and then stopping. The night swallowed me up. And the video ends there. What do you think? the Victim 101 tape really contains? And will the main character escape that basement? Leave a comment to let me know, and don't forget to follow to watch the next stories where the real mystery is revealed.